Hey folks, I am Troy and you're watching TroyTube. We recently added at bulkvinyl.com ThermoFlex Plus as our mainline heat transfer vinyl solution. So ThermoFlex Plus is a great matte, soft finished heat transfer vinyl that applies at the general 320 to 330, 15 seconds press time, medium pressure, works on fabrics great. It really feels like it's part of the garment. And now we have added ThermoFlex Turbo. So what is Turbo? Turbo is a little bit thinner than ThermoFlex Plus. It is you're still a soft matte finish. It's a versatile heat transfer vinyl though. Turbo is a low temp and low time application HTV. So you can apply it to cotton, polyester, cotton poly blends. It's great for tri-blends. This is a next level shirt. We're going to put it on here in a minute. That way, you know, when you're applying at a lower temp and a lower time, you don't risk so much scorching or glossing the garments, especially if they're darker garments. You have to be careful about that if it has rayon or viscose, something like that in it. And, you know, Turbo just makes it a lot easier to apply. The other real bonus for it is it can be applied to nylon. Now nylon, you do apply it a little bit hotter and a little bit longer. So for cotton and polyester and so forth, you apply it at 270 for 5 seconds. For nylon, you apply it at 300 for 5 seconds, but then you press it again for another 10 seconds after that, after you peel warm. So it's a very, like I said, it's a very versatile heat transfer vinyl, and it also doesn't promote dye migration from, you know, sublimation, or some garments you get or have low energy dyes in them, is what they're called, and that will bleed through. So if you put white on a red shirt, sometimes it'll come out pink, even though it's not a sublimation shirt. That just means it's generally a really low grade dye that's in the garment, and Turbo will help prevent that. It doesn't totally prevent it. It's all, you know, related to the garment quality sometimes, but it is a very versatile heat transfer vinyl. Now we have this in I think 48 colors, which includes neons and metallics. There's another 7 or 8 colors I think we're going to be getting in soon, which are the brights, which are also metallic. They're just kind of like brighter metallics, almost glossy kind of looking, instead of the matte finish. So we'll have those soon, but about I think 48 colors is what we have right now. So a lot of the questions we get are things about layering. Yes, you can layer it. There are some specs, I think Columbia blue, metallics, and neons, if I'm not mistaken. If those are layered, they have to be on top. You can't layer on top of those. Those specs are on our website. So when you view the product, when you scroll down to the lower part of the page, there's a tab that says additional information. And it has a lot of information there. It has the pressing information, the temperature, the time, the care instructions, whether it's CPSA compliant, laser compatible, all of those things that you need to know as a crafter or small business owner to be able to cut and apply that material. So make sure you take a look at that when you're on our site shopping and filling up your cart with all this great heat transfer vinyl. So we're going to switch over to the computer and just do kind of the basic design. We're going to do our logo again and put it on this shirt just like we did with ThermoFlex Plus, and we're going to do that, like I said, at 270 for 5 seconds, and that's all it's going to take. Okay, so we're now in Cricut Design Space, and this is going to be a really short, simple project, just like the ThermoFlex Plus video, where we're going to cut and apply our logo to a tri-blend shirt this time using ThermoFlex Turbo rather than ThermoFlex Plus. So we've already have our logo loaded into the system, so I'll go ahead and insert it into our design canvas, and we'll adjust this down to about a 4-inch size logo. Doesn't have to be exact for what we're doing. And then I'm going to right click and attach it so that it all becomes one color. We're just going to cut this out of white Turbo HTV and apply it to the shirt. Real simple project. And then we'll click make it, and of course heat transfer vinyl, don't forget to mirror it. And we are cutting this with a Cricut Maker, and again, we should be able to use everyday iron-on just fine with default pressure. We don't need to change anything as far as pressure, anything with the blade or the fast mode or anything like that. So we'll load the machine up and we'll get the project cut, and then we'll apply it with a heat press. Okay, I always like to point out, just like I did in the other video, that when you apply your heat transfer vinyl to your mat, A lot of people like to say shiny side down, and I pointed this out earlier, and this one looks like it might be a little bit more so what I was talking about. So when you look at both sides are really kind of shiny. This side is a little bit more dull than this side, but heat transfer vinyl, I don't like that terminology of shiny side down, because not all heat transfer vinyl has a shiny and dull side, and sometimes the carrier sheet side is the dull side if it's a frosted carrier sheet, and sometimes the adhesive side is glossy, and this one is a little bit more glossy than normal. So I always tell people, pick the corner just a little bit, see which side's the clear carrier sheet, and then put that side down to the mat. As I mentioned earlier, this is a next level tri-blend. It is cotton, polyester, and I think 5% rayon. The tag is really tiny, and I didn't want to get out a magnifying glass to read it, but it is a tri-blend, so it's sensitive to heat. Typically when you have a darker garment, especially if it's like a charcoal gray or black, it is subject to glossing. That's what I call it. That's what a lot of people call it, but it's scorching the material, and it will leave marks in the material that will not come out if you press it too hot. So we're going to press this using the Turbo product at 270 for just 5 seconds, and it's going to come out great. Turbo is a great heat transfer vinyl product, soft, thin, matte finish, and so we're going to press this right here. And again, we're in South Florida. The humidity is brutal here. When we lived up in the Midwest, I didn't bother to usually pre-press garments, but down here there is so much humidity in the air, and it's different because it's humidity from the ocean and the water versus humidity from trees and greenery and things like that. So it's a lot worse here than it is in other places. So we're going to give it just a quick press to get moisture out of the garment. Just a couple of seconds is all it takes to warm it up. And we'll place our HTV on the shirt. You'll notice I have magnets on my heat press. These are premium magnets that we offer on our website. I'll just make a note of that while we're at it. These are neodymium magnets. We used to use these little ceramic magnets, and they used to fall off. If you got the Teflon sheet caught on something, it would just flip off and roll away and everything. These, you don't want to touch them because they're hot, because the heat press is hot, but they have a little handle to work with them. They do not come off, very sturdy. Pick up a set of them. They're in the tools section on our website. So here we go, 270 for just 5 seconds. And again, if you're doing nylon, 300 for 5 seconds, and then peel it and press again for 10 seconds. So this is all it takes. This is a warm peel product. That is, it's really a lot thinner even than ThermoFlex Plus. Very soft material, quite impressive. Again, it does not feel like a lot of other heat transfer vinyl out there that feels like it's kind of a plastic on top of the garment. It's super soft to the touch, and this stuff's a little bit stretchy. ThermoFlex has another product called Stretch that we'll be adding to our site soon, but this is a little bit more stretchy than the ThermoFlex Plus because it is thinner, and like I said, it doesn't promote dye migration. You do see some discoloration there where I pressed it because of the temperature change, but when it cools off, that'll go away. That's not a scorched garment or anything like that. So ThermoFlex Turbo, 5 seconds, 270 degrees. It is amazing, and it will apply to nylon just a little bit warmer at 300 for 5 seconds, and then peel and press for another 10 seconds. The manufacturer also, they do recommend pressing this for an additional few seconds after you peel it, but I've never had to do that. I've never really done it. But nylon, I could see why you would want to do that because of the nature of the surface of the nylon and whether or not the HTV would stick to it well enough. So if you're on backpacks, things like that, keep that in mind. But ThermoFlex Turbo, available on our website at bulkvinyl.com today.